Hey guys, so if I asked you to think of someone you know or have known who is or was a really good person, what kind of qualities would come to mind? Because I think for most people, when you think of someone you know, whether it's like, a grandparent you had or a sibling or a friend who's a really good person, you generally think of someone who is like caring, who helps those around them, who is always there if you need something. Sorry, this doggy's coming over to say hello to me. Hello, doggy. You coming here, or are you looking for your ball or something? No, yeah, okay. You're just going over there to do something else. I thought, here we go. This dog loves me for no reason from afar. But anyway, yeah, you'd probably think of someone, for example, who's really good to their family and friends, who helps with stuff. If you need them, they're there for you, and all this. You probably, I would say, in most cases, you wouldn't think of someone who had all the correct opinions on like the latest geopolitical conflicts and social justice issues and stuff. When someone, dies and their family remember them, I don't think they really care about that stuff. And I don't think any of us truly care about that stuff, because there's stuff you care about and there's stuff you just care about, like in your heart, like in your soul. And there are people who, for example, are horrible people who don't care about their families, who treat them terribly. They may have all the correct opinions on social justice issues. They may have all the correct opinions of the time, but their family remember them as a piece of shit, basically, who hurt them and who made everyone's lives around them worse. And that's just reality. Like, we kind of pretend otherwise, and we pretend that these other things really matter. And of course they do to some degree. Like, it's weird if you're close with someone and they're like, oh, I'm a Satanist and I believe we should be allowed to eat babies. But then at the same time, they're very nice to you. It's disconcerting. But generally speaking, we're not talking about that, right? We're talking about, things within the sort of realm of normality and commonality. And yeah, I think this is telling, like, that when you actually talk about people in reality who are good people, usually this is what you think of, I think that's telling. And yet, at the same time, there's this burning desire in the West, and I would say even more specifically in Britain, where I'm from. I think we kind of invented this, and I think it's like a scourge on our society. There's this burning desire to let everyone know how good you are, how virtuous you are, and what a moral person you are, and how you believe the right things, and you get sad at the right moments, and you get angry at the right times, and these things are appalling. This is disgraceful. That's disgraceful. That is absolutely disgraceful what she's done. Oh, it's appalling. It's appalling. I'm sickened by this appalling news. No, you're not. You don't give a fuck. Shut up. You're lying through your fucking teeth. I was talking to my girlfriend about this the other day. I think disgraceful and appalling are the two. When I think of like British discourse nowadays, those are like the two most common words. I think we just come from a culture of like, sort of like noblemen laughing at peasants, and being like, look at the way he eats, it is disgusting. And then the peasants judging the other peasants, being like, you're making us look bad. And now, like, we don't have that anymore because we've decided that's appalling. It's appalling to be classist. So we've had to come up with new stuff. And we can't do like racism or classism anymore. So we have to be like, that's disgraceful. What you said there is disgraceful. I can't believe it. Like, yeah, you can believe it, and you don't give a shit. Your behaviour really conveys that, like, people who you actually value in reality, it's based on completely different stuff. Moreover, all of this pretense, all of this like obsession with letting everyone know how virtuous we are and how we believe the right things and we have the right reactions to things that go on, what has it achieved? Like, what have we accomplished with this? I was speaking to an old friend the other day, and this person I hadn't spoken to for a long time used to be quite a laugh, and this is never someone I perceived as particularly nice. Not awful, just not someone you would think of as being very nice, you know, and think, oh, that's a really good, kind-hearted person. Not particularly, but this person was interesting and quite smart and a laugh. I spoke to this person recently, and this is a growing feeling I'd had, like, you know, but this person was increasingly concerned with external socio-political and kind of pseudo-moralistic issues, more so than just kind of living life and being a human being, you know, just being a person and having a laugh with those around you and living your life and kind of tending to the part of the garden that you can touch, you know. A lot of people, they become excessively interested in or obsessed with or concerned about these things that don't really matter or mean anything in their lives, and that are of very little consequence in terms of what they put in and what they get out, you know. Let me whip across here. Be a mad end to a big damn video if I just got fucking wiped out. And without wanting to put too fine of a point in it or be too precise, you know, I was trying to have a laugh with this person, and it was difficult, you know. And it felt like at every opportunity this person had to shove their beliefs down my throat. And for example, right, let me just kind of abstract from this and just create some kind of examples. We're talking about a war or something, you know. You're talking about a war with someone, so it happened, and it's someone you know, right, and you know them, and it's like, okay, I know you're not a sociopath, you know I'm not a sociopath, we know that neither of us are like happy when people die, that we're both, generally speaking, we're like okay people. We don't really need to prove to one another that we're capable of like basic compassion, so that's okay. So then you might make a joke about this situation, or you try to lighten the mood, and this person goes, no, oh, it's so sad. And you're like, yeah, I know it's sad, we both know it's sad, you don't really need to remind me, that's okay, like, it's all right, I get it, yeah, I get that you're not literally laughing in the face of dying children and like taunting them, and that you don't think it's brilliant that they're dying. Like, you don't really need to remind me that you find that sad, and you can just, you know, have casual chit chat with people and not kind of shove your beliefs into everything and use everything as an opportunity to sort of convey and get across that you're so virtuous. And it comes across to me as like overcompensating, and I've seen people do this a lot. I have family members that do it, where, you know, there are people you can be honest with who are not insecure about their moral fibre as human beings. And we all know, let's be honest, like, we think kind of fucked up shit, like, and we often, the things we say publicly and the things we really, the way we're forced to behave and the ways that we actually think are like, often we're quite shitty in our own minds, and all of us really are like quite self-absorbed and hypocritical and all of this, and we have lots of good qualities as well. But like, there's a sort of portion of people who I feel are not insecure about that, and kind of know who and what they are, and are like, yeah, you know, and you can kind of like have honest conversations with those people and have a laugh with them, because they're not trying to perform, and they're not taking every possible opportunity to let you know that they feel the right way about a certain thing, or that they have the right opinion on it. And they don't go, oh, how could you say that? How can you say that? That's so bad. No, you can't say that. It's like, shut up. You think it as well. Like, you're just being a prick. You think the exact same thing. You just don't want to say it. So you've decided that what you're supposed to say is this, and that's how you're going to react. And you're not being honest. And it strikes me as a little bit, you know, like when like a homophobe is like comedically obsessed with not being gay, and we all sort of, you know, chalk that up to kind of overcompensation. You know, it's weird. It's like a form of overcompensation, and you think, like, why are you? Most people are just like, yeah, I'm just straight. You know, I don't really need to like talk about it all the time and reinforce it all the time. let everyone know and discuss the ins and outs of being straight. I'm just straight and it's not a big deal to me. And then there's people who are like, I wouldn't do that because that's gay. And you're like, all right. It's a bit odd that you even focus on it so much. Maybe it's because you're overcompensating, or maybe you're just being a prick and you're just giving an undue level of emphasis to something that doesn't really deserve it at all. And yeah, so there's a lot of that with certain people where I think, like, who are you talking to? Like, no one else is here. We're just having a conversation between you and I. And if you, for example, allow yourself to, like, you know, chuckle at like an offhand remark or something about tangentially related to a serious topic, it's okay. Like, I'm not gonna like call the thought police on you, and you're not gonna. Oh, it's so funny when someone has a fucking selfie stick, isn't it? And a slightly silly hat. It's like people can't get over it. Whenever I'm walking around with this, people like, or even just like wearing hats like this, people are like, he's wearing a hat, protect himself from the sun. He said, what's that? That's not a normal hat. He's got a stick in his hand with a phone on it. It's like, it's 2025. Like, you can fucking, it's not that funny. You're that fucking bored? You think this is funny? That I'm walking around like this? Come on, man. It's not even interesting. It's like, yeah, he's got a hat on so he doesn't fucking die of skin cancer and look fucking 90 when he's fucking 50. And he's using a selfie stick to film a video because it's 2025 and people fucking do that. Honestly, man. I got some with my girlfriend, and she also wears like big hats, more like sun, you know, like ladies like sun hats. So I'll have one of these and she'll have one of those. And the looks you get from people, it's like, oh, I'm sorry I'm not wearing a baseball cap that doesn't really fucking protect me whatsoever. I'm sorry. I didn't wear the fucking standard issue hat. And people will look and be like smirking, like, she's wearing a big sun hat. It's like, yeah, you never seen a fucking sun hat before? What's the matter with you? Anyway, yeah, man, it drives me nuts. I'm struggling to explain it. I'm struggling to convey the vibe correctly when talking to these people, partly because I don't want to be like rude. I'm doing the same thing, I guess. And that's the truth, is I do this as well. Everyone does it. I'm not saying I don't do this or I'm immune from it. I'm saying, though, it's sort of reaching kind of epidemic levels now, where when you look at it, you go, okay, so you make sure to always wear the correct face when certain topics come up and let everyone know, oh no, that's not funny, that's appalling. What does that achieve? Really, like, what does that achieve? What consequences does that have? Apart from just basically making your life worse and making you fucking boring to be around and making you seem like a prick. Like, it doesn't achieve anything. You're not helping anybody. It's an arrogant, pompous, narcissistic gesture. You're not doing anything for anyone apart from yourself, and you're not even doing anything for yourself. You just think you are. You think that somehow you're like enhancing your image, or you're keeping yourself safe. You're sheltering yourself from the possibility of like being somehow some sort of like heathen or something. It's like, just get over it. Like, no one really cares anyway. And what's happened, you know, we've like lost the ability to enjoy stuff. And even, I don't know, like, I do it myself. It's not just even to others, it's to yourself as well. And it's making it very hard to enjoy life. I feel, particularly, I think it's a huge problem in the West. It's making it very hard to enjoy life because everything has this sort of like ethical kind of like weight attached to it. Everything you eat or buy or say or do or look at, and it all goes through this like ethics processing machine, which is a load of bollocks. It doesn't come from real compassion anyway, but it all gets filtered through that, and it's hard to just like have fun and not give a shit about stuff anymore. And ultimately that's important. Like, we're gonna die and we're gonna get to the end of our lives, and it'll be like, oh well, at least I never let on that I could maybe have found that joke funny. At least I never let on that, like, it's okay to have a laugh at someone who, for example, like, is not in the room and something happened to them and they maybe look a bit silly. it's okay, like, it's okay to have a laugh at that person when they're not there and when you're just talking with someone you know. It's okay to, like, enjoy stuff, products and things that are maybe not always the most ideally sourced or manufactured. Like, it's all right, you can sort of just let go sometimes, I think, and do that and not think about it too much. Or, you know, if you're gonna do it anyway, don't think about it, like, because that's part of the problem, is a lot of this shit we end up doing it anyway, but just with like a side order of sort of guilt and shame and neuroticism and self-obsession. And it's all about, really, like, what does this say about me? It's not about the thing, it's all like, what does this say about me as a person, and how does this reflect upon me, and how does this affect my ranking as a sort of ideally moral person. And yeah, it's kind of ruining everything. I think it's draining the fun from stuff. I've noticed, like, Britain, I mean, I haven't been back to Britain. Sorry about all the noise, I'm trying to get away from the fucking cars and people. I can't do it, it's pissing me off. It's a busy time of year. I'm gonna take a right down here and it should be alright. But it's yeah, Britain in particular is like a miserable place. Like, it's miserable. And when I speak to people from there, I realise they're just miserable and they don't realise it. And they say this stuff. One of the most common things, a very common thing that's happening, particularly with my generation, is like, why would anyone bring children into this world? It's like, shut up. Who are you talking to? Who are you performing for? Shut up. You can't be asked to have them because you want to fucking watch Netflix and play PlayStation and because you know you don't have your own house. Like, it's not because you think it's wrong to bring children into the world. You just, to be honest, a lot of these people are too fucking self-absorbed to do it anyway. But it's just like, you're just focusing on all this shit that's not, you're a human being, you know? Like, you're a human, and you're also a citizen of like one country. Like, stop worrying about the globe and shit. You're acting like a freak. You're like worrying about all of this shit that has nothing to do, you will never be anywhere near, and you don't do anything about. You don't help, you don't go there, you don't do anything, none of it matters whatsoever. If you consider, right, like, the time, for example, consider the leverage you have in these situations, right? Like, some time you put in to family. Say you have a family member who's like fucked up, they're going through some weird shit, and you spend like an hour talking to that person. You just like phone them and chat to them and say, hey, what's going on at the moment? You know, I've heard you got this or that happening, sorry to hear that, you know, just care about you, want to talk to you, blah blah blah. And you spend like an hour talking to them. The difference you can make is unbelievable. Like, it's huge, you know. Even not even an hour, 10 minutes, even sometimes just saying something to someone, just sending them a message and just saying, by the way, I heard this thing happened, or I heard you did this, or, you know, I remember when someone said this to you and I don't think that's true, or I think you're this or that, or whatever. It could be a good thing or a bad thing, you know, the influence you can exert on that person's life with just one sentence even is like enormous. You can exert like a fundamental shift in someone's mental state, in their quality of life, how they feel, just by saying one thing, like something really simple. On the other hand, when you look at like socio-political issues, you've spent like your entire life worrying about them and talking about them and debating them, and how much difference have you really made? I'm not saying none, but relative to the time you put in, what you get out of it and the change that you affect is incredibly minimal compared to, like, is it worth ruining your life over? Is it worth basically never being happy because you're constantly worried about bullshit that doesn't really have any consequences for you or those around you? Is that worth an entire life passing by of you never being happy? Another way I think about this a lot is, like, some people will be like, oh, how can I enjoy my life when there's so many people suffering elsewhere? It makes you feel bad. It's like, well, isn't that like bad? If you have the opportunity to enjoy your life and be happy in a way that like your ancestors fought for and didn't get and wanted to have, and in a way that other people around the world are desperate to have, and you're sort of pissing it up the wall to kind of like pat yourself on the back for being a moral person, and then not enjoying the privileges and luxuries you do have, and not being happy because you have some weird vague awareness in the back of your mind that some people somewhere else are suffering and that you're supposed to feel bad about yourself or something. It's like, it's so dumb, it's so nonsensical, it's just ridiculous. And I feel like it's like a sort of suicidal mode of thought, which is why it expresses itself a lot in this thing about not having kids, and basically like not continuing our like great societies, and not kind of almost like giving up on life. And I see it in people, they've sort of given up, and it's like they've sort of decided like, oh, all of this is kind of tarnished morally and we just have to give up. And it's like, why? Like, you're fine, everything's good, you can just enjoy yourself and do stuff and be a laugh and cheer your family up. And so many of these people, that's what I find, is like they're a fucking misery. And it's like, so you're just a misery for your friends and family, and you're worrying about shit that you can't even affect. Like, why don't you worry about what's around you? Why don't you worry about being a positive influence on people who are near you? Why don't you worry about shit you can actually control and change? Because you're talking a load of wank about shit that you don't have any intention of doing anything about, you don't even really care about deep down. Like, you don't have dreams about that stuff. You have dreams about family members and friends. You have dreams about, like, you know, your worst fears or the things you really hope for. You don't have fucking dreams about what you read on like BBC News. Like, you just, you know, you're like, it's not, you're not that connected to it in reality. It's a false connection that's not natural, and we're not built for it. Sometimes you just got to be what you are. Like, human beings, like, that's just what we are. You know, you look at like dogs, and it's like they should be dogs. Like a dog, when your dog is being a dog, it's being a dog, and you see that it's good. You know that, like, he's a dog. You know, he should be a dog. He should hang out with other dogs. We give him this weird artificial life, obviously, and we do the best we can. But you see, like, when they socialise with another dog, it's just different. They're being dogs, and it's important. It's important that they can be dogs. It doesn't matter what other stuff you give them, they have to, on some level, be able to be dogs. And of course, they're not fully dogs when they're domesticated and when they're living with us, unless you consider that part of their dogness. But they're like, you know, it's very important that they're able to do that. And there's certain things about us that's just how we are. You know, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, you can overthink it and moralize it and make half-assed fucking philosophical arguments for or against it, but like, there's just kind of certain stuff that we just are and we just do, you know. So like, it's like, just be that and just fucking do it, and stop thinking about everything, trying to justify everything, and like thinking about everything through this ridiculous lens that most of the time as well, like, most people are not really like intellectually capable of doing, of like filtering and processing everything that they do and think and say in an effective way. It's just like, why are you doing it anyway? And who cares? Who at the end of your life is totting up all of this stuff? Like, and what are the consequences of it? There are a lot of people who like, who will, it happens as well with like, oh, there's certain things you do and certain things you don't do. And, you know, even in family life and interpersonal relationships. And then you look at them and you go, well, look at your fucking life. Look at the people around you. Like, they're miserable. And the consequences of your actions, or in many cases your complete inaction, because you're so afraid of doing something that's a no-no thing, or, you know, breaching some kind of strange, unwritten, apparently unbreakable rule, that everything's gone to shit. And everyone around you is miserable. And these are the consequences of your choices. So they don't seem like very good choices. It doesn't seem like it works very well. There's a lot of I was thinking about this with Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne. I don't know much about Sharon and Ozzy. I'm not a metal fan particularly, and I don't like, you know, The View and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say I like Sharon Osbourne, but I kind of like I've always from afar kind of vaguely respected their dynamic and thought they're obviously right for each other. And a lot of people go, oh, that's so terrible. Oh my God, he did this to her, she did that to them. It's like, I think anyone with a brain who's actually being sort of logical can see like they were kind of made for each other. And that really, in the end, like they were both fucking freaks and both, you know, hysterical kind of weirdos with like behavioural issues and stuff and had all their own problems. Neither of them were ever going to be in a normal relationship, and it wouldn't have been appropriate for either one of them to have been with a, in quotes, normal person. And Sharon, who one would describe, I guess, as a bit of like a battle axe, you know, I think that would be fair. Really, when you look at it, she's done all sorts, behaved in all sorts of ways that most of us would say are kind of like not right or inappropriate, or she's done this or that. Fine, but look at the consequences of her actions. She's got this bloke who was like, you know, kind of the biggest fuck up on planet Earth in terms of like substance abuse and all of this. And like, he ended up living, I know they had lots of problems and I'm oversimplifying it, but he ended up living a pretty long and like relatively good life, I think, and a lot of their problems were sorted out. And I know they had some extremely serious problems that I'm not downplaying, like as a couple, you know. And their kids had their problems, but to be honest, when you look at the problems that their kids had, they're actually pretty normal, like rich kid problems, like oh, I'm a fucking suicidal drug addict, and then like 2 years later it's like, I'm fine now, I'm really happy, I've got a kid. And like, those are very, really, like, I've grown up around a lot of people like Kelly and Jack, like they're pretty normal actually in reality, you know. And yeah, I mean, Ozzy survived. He didn't die of a fucking heroin overdose at 50 or whatever, you know. He survived, and they made a shitload of money. And I would say generally, like, seemed like a group of people who loved each other quite a lot, and through very perilous circumstances in many ways, and in spite of many issues that as individuals they all had, generally speaking, like, I don't know, they even like broke up for a bit, but they kind of stuck together. And I'd say a large part of that is probably Sharon being like kind of a bully and being one of those people who was willing to go, no, this is right, this is what I'm doing, you know, I'm not having this, you're gonna fucking do this, I'm gonna do this. In the end, look what she created. Like, because people can go, oh no, you should never do that, you should never do this. Maybe. I mean, what would you have done in that situation? Because probably if you'd been in that situation, he would have fucking died of a heroin overdose or something, you know, much earlier. And it all would have gone to shit because you didn't want to dirty yourself. You didn't want to get your hands dirty, and you didn't want to ever step outside the safety of not doing anything that's considered a bit like inappropriate or wrong or whatever. And in reality, she did so many things like that, and was, from what I can gather, and again, I don't know, I might be wrong about these two, I don't know that much about them, but it seemed like she was a very hectoring and quite domineering person, and you know, to put it politely, like a very strong character who fought a lot. And in the end, what she fought for, whilst there might have been a lot of self-interest involved as well, I don't know, what she fought for seems pretty good. You know, a family that stayed together and that love each other, and a bloke who lived way longer than anyone felt he should have done, and people who laughed a lot together and were happy a lot together and achieved a lot of success together. And she never could have done that if she was paralysed by this self-absorbed masturbatory notion of a kind of abstract form of right and wrong. And he would be dead, she would probably have gone through all these other relationships, the kids would probably be fucking miserable because their dad would be dead and their mum would be off with like other blokes and whatever and this and that. And again, I know their lives weren't perfect in the end, but like, all things considered, considering where it started and the bare materials, the raw materials they had to work with, I think things went pretty well for them, really. And a lot of people are the opposite. They will, through kind of what's the word? To kind of pander to themselves almost. They'll never do any of that. They'll never take control of what's actually going on. They'll never actually. It's putting the means before the ends to like a dangerous extent, in my opinion. And of course you have to consider both. Absolutely, there are certain lines that shouldn't be crossed and certain boundaries we should have, regardless of the consequences, really. And not everything can be like, you know, for the greater good. I understand that, but there's like a balance that's important. And when you just completely lose sight of one in favour of the other, everything is out of balance. And this is what I think is happening. Is it's like, yeah, it's putting the means before the ends, and it's not. You're sort of not stopping to say why. Like, why are we forcing ourselves to be miserable about everything? Why are we being miserable about the state of the world? Why are we refusing to have a laugh? Like, we can't even have a laugh anymore, man. I know some people do, of course. I'm generalising very broadly. Plenty of people in Britain and other places still laugh, but I've noticed like a distinct lack of it. And this is stuff where it's like people are telling me stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, why the fuck are you telling me this? Who are you? You know, like, why are you giving me, you're sort of lecturing me about like the ethics of something that's not, it has nothing to do with us, and you're not even smart. Like, why are you telling me about this? But you're too stupid to handle it, to be honest. Like, some people, it's like your brain isn't there. And if I'm going to get this from someone, I'm not getting it from you, to be honest. And I do that, and I've done that, you know, absolutely. I'm definitely not trying to say that I don't do this, and that's not a problem I have. But I'm trying to just remember, like who and what I am, and that is a human being, like, who's going to die one day, you know. And I'm from a certain family, and I'm from a certain place, and I'm from a certain background, I'm from a certain culture, and I have certain responsibilities, and then there's others that I don't really have, and I don't really need to have, and it's not really beneficial for me to be sort of buried under the weight of thinking I have them. And there's, like, for example, all these kids who are like suicidal over the environment. And it's like, well, what's the point of having a good, you know, for example, like, oh, the state of the world is so bad. Okay, so why does the state of the world need to be good? The state of the world ideally should be good so that people can be happy, right? So if you have the capacity to be happy and you're choosing not to be, you're choosing to be miserable, then what fucking good does this world being in a good state mean? Because you're just not going to be happy anyway. You live in circumstances that are a million times better than ones that other people have been like delightfully happy in, and you're miserable because you've decided to be. So then what does it matter if the world is fixed? If your life is materially and circumstantially generally really good and you still can't be happy, then who fucking cares about the state of the world? So just be happy. Like, fuck it, just, you know, like, and I sometimes remind, like, you know, if you've got like a family member who's ill, a parent, say, for example, if you have like an ill parent, like, most likely, if that parent, like, you know, loves you and cares about you, what they really want above all else is for you to be okay, and for you to be happy, and for you to be all right. They don't need you to constantly make the right gestures about their cancer or whatever it is, or to never be offensive, or to always show, oh no, I feel the right way about this. Actually, in reality, probably, like, if they're your parent, you know, like, they probably just really want you to be happy and successful, and to know that you're okay. And from that point of view, it's quite good to be selfish, you know, like, and I don't mean selfish to an unhealthy extent. I mean to the extent of, like, take care of your own life and make sure you make yourself comfortable and you set yourself up to have a good life and be happy and comfortable, because, like, no one is, and it's horrible and it's depressing. It's depressing to be around people. It's depressing to talk to them and to hear their opinions on stuff and like listen to them, and like no one's happy, and it just makes you feel worse. It just makes it's like a vicious circle, and it doesn't help anybody. And so, like, the best thing you can do, I think, really, like, to really make a difference, is be happy and be a laugh and be fun and be nice to people around you. And, like, if everyone did that, the difference we'd make in terms of quality of life overall on the planet would be enormous. And people do this, not everyone, of course, but in places where people have less, it's very common to be like this and to just focus on enjoying. Look at somewhere like Brazil, for example, right? Brazil is like rife with extreme poverty and crime and a lot of really awful stuff, and many people, of course, are just suffering. Like, there's nothing they can do about it, and they live in like tiny, cramped areas where gangs run the whole place, and it's terrifying, and there's murder and rape and all of this, and there's nothing they can do. And yet, at the same time, like overall, generally, regardless of like kind of class background, generally they appear to be like a very, very festive, very upbeat, like incredibly vibrant people who are very positive and who basically, like, to some degree kind of treat every day like it might be the last, and understand that like having a good time with your family and friends and those who you care about is like sacred, you know? Like it's truly important. And there will be times, I'm sure, when people go, how can we be happy when there's all this shit going on in our neighbourhood and these kids are dying and this and that is happening? How can we just enjoy these parties and stuff? I'm sure. But it doesn't feel to me like it's an obsession. It feels like, above all, people go, yeah, well, even if we improve these things, there will always be stuff. There will always be bad things. There will always be problems. There will always be obstacles to happiness. That's never going to change. Like, it's never going to change. And things are never going to be all right, you know, morally in the world. And in terms of like socio-political issues and stuff, it's never all going to be fixed. And it's been a lot worse than it is now, not that long ago. It's been better as well, for sure. It's not a great time. Well, it is actually, it's a great time. It's not great compared to maybe like a few different decades. A few recent decades were basically better than now, and that's blinded everyone into thinking that the world is so terrible now, when in reality it's pretty fucking amazing. It's just that it was, you know, really good for about 30 years. And we're burdened, I think, by comparing ourselves and our current circumstances to that, rather than comparing it to like everything that's ever happened. And yeah, I think you know, you can listen, for example, I listen to some of these like history podcasts and stuff. You can listen to a podcast about slavery, I listened to one about the slave trade in Britain and the abolition of the slave trade and stuff like that. And you can listen to that, and you can afterwards, and there was one I was listening to on, it's called Short History of, about the abolition of the British slave trade. It was really good. It's one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to. It's amazing. There's some horrifying stuff in it, like one. Well, I won't spoil it actually, because some of the twists are quite sort of stomach turning and horrible. But then there's some very inspiring and positive stuff in it as well. And you can listen to that, and you can go like, oh, we're a disgrace. European culture, the things we've done, the things that have happened to people. What's the point in carrying on? How can we live? How can we be happy? Look at us. Human beings are so terrible. The world is fucked. You can, and I guess you could argue all of those points, or you could be like, yeah, some of that is really incredibly sad. It's fucking amazing that I don't have to be a slave. Like, I'm incredibly lucky not to be, and I think most of those people, if they got the opportunity to live my life, would just spend every day just like, fuck yes, woohoo, like, and that would be good for them, you know. You'd be like, good, I'm really happy for you, you know, that you're free and you could just fucking jump for joy every day, because it's good to fucking jump for joy and be happy. That. B, it's good that it ended, you know. C, yeah, like, humans are capable of foul shit, but we're also capable of a lot more than just that, and we've changed a lot, and, you know, we're capable of change and making progress, and often just for purely good reasons, for changing things that are beneficial for us, you know. There's a lot of other ways you can look at it, but it feels like people don't want to sometimes. They just want to look at the negative part, and there's a lot of anti-human, anti-Western, anti-European, anti-life kind of sentiment floating around at the moment. It's pathetic, and it's like, well, you're still here, What are you doing then? Why don't you put your money where your fucking mouth is then? If it's all so bad and we're all so worthless, what are you doing here? Taking up resources and taking up space, you miserable bum. Like, you know, it's like, what's the point? The world and humans have been so bad and I'm so good for noticing it. It's like, yeah, all right, well, you know what you can fucking do then, don't you? If you don't want to be here with the rest of us, you're too good for us, you know what to fucking do. Why don't you do it? You put your money where your mouth is if you really believe that, because you fucking don't. You're talking shit. You don't believe it. And that's what it is. It's a load of bollocks. Like, these people don't put their money where their mouths are. They don't believe it. They just fucking say it. Like, and it's gross. After a while, when you start to notice it, it's like gross, because you think, well, why are you saying it? If you don't believe it, why are you saying it? You know? Like, if someone is going away, someone you love, you know, they're going away, or they're ill, or they're going in for surgery, you tell them I love you, like, and you mean it. You say it just because you mean it, just because you can't help it. You mean it, you believe it. It's just how you feel deep down, you know? Like, you love that person. You can't help it, even if you don't want to. You just can't help it. And that's why you say it. Why do you say this other shit if you don't mean it? Because if you meant it, you would do something different. You would live differently. You would do something differently about it. So basically, you want to bring all of us down in your fucking misery about shit that you don't even believe enough to do anything about, and you're going to sit here and be like, oh, it's so bad. It's like, so, okay, so humans are basically worthless. We're the worst creatures that exist. Go feed yourself to a pack of fucking lions then, if that's true, you know? That's what you would do. Go feed yourself to a pack of, like, predatory wild animals and look in their faces while they're fucking chowing down on you. You see how fucking great they are. You can see, oh, what a amazing altruistic act you've just done, feeding yourself to a fucking bear. You've given him some num-nums and you've proven how great you are. It's like, that's, you know, do you really mean that? You really believe, oh, humans are the most dangerous animals on earth? Go on then, go feed one of the nice ones and look at it snarling into your face as you fucking scream out in agony, bleeding to death, and tell me that you fucking believe that. Cool, alright. That's a load of bollocks. It's all lies. It's fucking bollocks. You don't really feel it, you're just saying it, you know? It's the same with loads of shit. Like, we care more about some people than others. It's just a fact, you know? Certain things matter more than others to us. It's just a fact. When you try to have a perspective as like the globe, it's like, you're not the fucking globe. You're not the globe. You're not the world. You're not God. Be a fucking human being. Like, stop being God. Like, you're trying to think of everything all zoomed out and shit. It's like, you care about like your family and your people and your friends and yourself. And like things around you, and that's what you were born to do. That's what you're meant for. That's what your nature intends. Of course we do lots of things that are not natural, but like, it's getting to a point now that it's silly. It's like, who or what are you trying to be, and who are you trying to fool with this bullshit, and what is it achieving? I'm struggling to find answers to those questions, particularly the last one. I'm looking at the sort of fruits of this non-labour, and it's like, it's just misery, it's just depression, it's just sort of like a collective apathetic self-hatred that we just put on ourselves, and no one's stopping to ask, why are we doing this and what are we getting from it? I'm going in circles and I'm reiterating the same ideas a lot. I don't want to stop talking about it because I feel like I haven't conveyed it effectively enough. I feel it's something that when you see it and feel it, you just see it and feel it. And for me, it's clicked recently. I sort of started to go, what is all of this? Because I do it, and I've done it a lot. I started to go, what is this? Like, what is the point of all of this bullshit? It's fucking shit. And like, it doesn't make me think people are nice when they do it. I don't, because a lot of people do it who just aren't nice. They just aren't nice people. So I know it's not because they're nice. It's nothing to do with being nice. And it just clicked. And honestly, you might be watching this video and not agreeing with me, not getting what I'm saying, and thinking, no, he's talking rubbish. And maybe you're right. But like, I feel like when you see it, you just see it, and you see all of it, and you sort of will start to to see what I'm saying, like if it's something that is around you, you know, and you're just going, yeah, why are we saying all of this stuff and doing all of this stuff? What's this really achieving, you know? It's like a kind of a sick obsession. I had someone, you know, me and my girlfriend were thinking of having kids and stuff, and someone who I'm close to, I don't want to be too, you know, I'm not having a pop at this person, but was like, oh well, you know, we were kind of glad to think that you wouldn't have children because the world is in such a bad state. And I was like, ugh, that's not very fucking nice, is it? Think about what you're saying. Like, think about it in reality, because you're talking about the world, right? Think about your life, your family, and those around you. So imagine, like, we have kids, right? And we got this little nipper, and he's awesome, or she, or they. And, you know, you love them, and we love them as their parents. And it's like, oh yeah, so-and-so didn't want you to exist because they watched the news too much. So they didn't want you to exist. They didn't want you to experience the miracle of life and consciousness. They didn't want you to exist. You know? They wanted you obliterated from possibility. Like, when you think about it, when you actually step back and think, what am I saying? It's insane. It's disgusting and insane. I'm not having a pop at this person. I get it. Like, it's just the prevailing thought of the time. But it's like disgusting. I'm not saying this person is disgusting for saying it or anything. I get it. I've said dumb shit like that before. But just when you actually step back and you're like, who am I? And what's my life? And what are my responsibilities? And what's my role? And what's my relation to those around me? Like, and based upon that, what do my words mean? Because the world isn't listening. It's just me hearing that about my, you know, future kids. And it's not nice. It's not a nice thing to say. It's horrible. It's a horrible idea. It's horrible. It's just horrible. It's like a murderous thought. Not murderous, but like it's so, yeah, I don't know. It's, you know, it's weird, man. It's a weird idea. And it's so unnatural and perverse, and it's just not really like our place to think like that and talk like that. It's bizarre. Anyway, there's more on this, but I'm conscious that I'm going on and on. I hope some people know what I mean, and if you don't, and if you think I'm chatting bollocks, just think on it for a bit, and just, you know, mull it over. You might maybe look beyond if I'm not expressing it perfectly, and just try to look out for this in your life. Is this something you see around you? Because I think it's a very real and very kind of toxic phenomenon. And I'm aware I'm a hypocrite in this regard. Probably even just the concept of this video in itself is kind of self-contradictory and hypocritical. But anyway, doing my best. All right, chaps, take care. Hope you're all well.